Thank you so much for being here in the miracle class, the introduction to miracles class. And the time has come, so to speak, to start in the Urtext of Course in Miracles. And I'm really happy that we do so because I love to dive into it and read it and see what it has to say to us in this moment, because it's so beautifully guiding us. And so I've been using it in the 40 days to resurrection already a bit, and quite a bit, and made some recordings in which Angela and me, are reading the word text. And that is a great delight, because you immediately start to discover that it's actually guidance in the moment for you right now, and in your daily life with the occurrences that are taking place. So it's so to the point that it's absolutely beautiful, and I'm so happy that you want to be part of that, and want to start to use that for yourself in this spiritual endeavor that we're in. So that is how we start this class, and how we say hold hands together in that sense. This is a beautiful opportunity to see a relationship with a capital R at work. And so that's lovely. That's lovely that you're open to it, to receive that for yourself. And so today we're looking a bit at so how do you do this book? How can you work with this? Because it's big, it has 7 volumes, and what am I supposed to do first, and how am I supposed to read this? And why is it so different than the blue book that is so famous and translated into 18 languages, and or 18 plus? It's incredible, and sold more than I don't know how many million copies, which is all great and fantastic. And so for me, this Urtext comes in a moment where I'm completely open to start anew with the Course in Miracles. And so I'm not going to pretend as if I did this already for many years, even though the first time the Course came into my, say, my consciousness was in around 1999. And it was just translated into Dutch. And I was mesmerized even by the names of the chapters that were, I saw all images and pictures for me, like I saw landscapes and paintings for in front of my eyes disappearing, and that was beautiful. But I really thought, to start with, that I really thought it wasn't for me, that it was for my former wife at the time. And eventually, like very quickly, within a week or so, I was connecting with a Miracles Reunion Center in Holland that I didn't even know existed, where the Course in Miracles was taught. So that was pretty amazing altogether. So that came really on my path. That's why I have a long connection with this, especially because it is, say, it is based on Christ. It is based on Christianity. It is based on yeah, my relationship with Jesus. So I'm just bringing this in, and that is how that is for me. That's why I start this in the first place. I knew in the beginning, from my awakening path, so to speak, I knew that I had to look for my release of my freedom in Christian vernacular, like Christian language, because I have a history in that. I was raised like in a certain way, and that there needed to be some healing in that area. So I could go to a master in India. I really was thinking about doing that anyway, like just even 3 weeks before I got the Course in Miracles out. But then it was clear that that the real homecoming for me could take place in the Christianity, like into this Christian book that is actually coming from Jesus, coming to me in a totally different way. And so to make it even more personal in that sense, by the time that I grew up as a pubescent, I had like, well, I read a book actually. I read a book about the freedom of theology, like to get rid of the religion idea of Jesus. And in that book, it was stated that Jesus would come back to me in a whole different way. And so I was adventurous. It was more adventure to let go of what I've learned in church than actually to come to and let Jesus come to me in a whole different way. It was much more adventurous. So that's why that happened. And I had a sojourn of maybe 10, 15 years or something like that before Jesus came back into my life via A Course in Miracles. So that was quite something. That was quite something. Like it was a real recognition. Like, oh yes, you have said you would come back, and it came back to me in that sense. I trusted that. So here we are reading the Course in Miracles, coming to use this book as an like blueprint to get you out of your limited frame of reference that you grew up with as a human being, to come completely free of that in a way that actually is a discovery for you to come in touch with a whole different continuum, not related to time and space, but coming directly from out of that, beyond that altogether. So the new version then for me to use this is a whole different experience, because now in this moment, in this um, new continuum where we find ourselves, this is a new step. I never read this. This book wasn't even there before. You know, this book was not there since 2008 or something, when it was published the first time. And it has, I think, something like 48,000 more words or letters in it than the Blue Book version. And I read the Urtext before, but now in this version, everything is so well categorized. It's the notes are so well done. You can read them, you cannot read them, you can still go through the text without reading them. But if you want to go a little deeper into the text, it can be really nice to use that and to see like, oh, that's what it means. Oh, that's why that comes from. To let it become even more digestible for you, to let that come to you. So I think that is a beautiful way to present this. And for me, it is a recognition of, oh my God, I didn't want to miss any of the words that were taken out in the Blue Book. I didn't want to see, I really love the word soul, for instance, and that word was taken out of the first chapters, the first 7 chapters. And I love the word, I love many words that were taken out. So one of the subjects that's also very interesting to me is the idea of sex. You know, that was taken out of the Blue Book almost completely. Well, there's a real lesson to learn in how to look at all of this in your development, in your say in your spiritual awakening. It is really good to know how that works and why sex can be confusing in this altogether, but never really knowing where that's coming from, and seeing then that it's actually given to us to understand how that works. And not as a religion with rules like you're not allowed to do this or not allowed to do that. No, but to give you a deep sense of this is what is this about, and this is what love is, and this is what extension is, and this is what projection is, in a whole new way, very clear, no confusion about it. So, and immediately, continuously, there's an invitation to let that come to you, like to accept that for yourself in its totality. So that's really beautiful, I think, in this book. So the Urtext starts with these words. I will read it to you. The Urtext starts with this introduction. It is crucial to say first that this is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. It means only that you can elect what to take when. It is just because you are not ready to do what you should elect to do that time exists at all. You will see miracles through your hands, through me. You should begin each day with the prayer, help me to perform whatever miracles you want of me today. So that is the introduction of this first chapter of the Urtext. And it's recognizable, like in the in the blue book that I got here, like this is not really blue anymore. It's a bit like worn out, but it's still alive. Here it says, and I don't do this to compare it, but just because I love the introduction in the blue book too. That's why I read it. This is a course in miracles. It's a quiet course, required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. The course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all encompassing can have no opposite. This course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way: nothing real can be threatened, and nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. See, and this is what I wanted to read because I love the last couple of sentences. Nothing real can be threatened, and nothing unreal exists. So that is so fundamental. As in, okay, let's keep that in mind. So I don't even know where to start with this, really, because it is like this is not just reading a book, as you know. So this is not just reading a book. So basically, you're going to use this as a guide. You know, it's as your instruction, as your alignment, as your connection to direct connection to atonement, and atonement being the undoing of what you think you are and coming to the realization of this is what I am. And so that's why I want to introduce this and start our classes with this, is that it is yeah, it is really a start for yourself to start using this actively and see what that does with you, if that's helpful to you, and see how that is helpful to you, and seeing all the opportunities to speed up the process, so to speak, in which you are awakening. Just, and that sounds like, well, you cannot do it fast enough. Is that what this is about? No, it is more like it saves you a lot of time of suffering. It saves you a lot of time of things you don't have to do, um, sidetracks that you don't have to take, just because your mind is like in alignment with the atonement principle. And maybe that sounds not too interesting right now for starters, but it is like, well, remember the moments that you were anxious, the moments that you felt so guilty, or the moments that you were preoccupied with your situation, that you didn't even know how to let go of it. So this will make you see how that works in you and what you can do to prevent from happening to yourself. So in that sense, it is not a self-help book or something. No, not really. No, it is a real guidance, because it is not just not doing something. No, it's also coming in touch with what is replaced by that, or where suddenly there's space for. in your mind to receive for yourself. So it is much more than a self-help book. A self-help book would still be something in the level of a mental activity, and this is spiritual support and a direct opportunity to receive that as an experience for yourself in the comfort of connectedness and harmony and beauty and love, in fact. So that is what makes this all totally different than just a self-help book in which you try to figure out how to get a better life. This is not to get a better life, this book, but it is actually to come to see what life is, and come in touch with the direct experience of what life is. So that is different. So the practical application of the ideas that are being shared here is immediate. You can literally apply it immediately as soon as you receive it for yourself, and receive it as information, because it will do so by you reading it. And that's also what we're going to do. Like, we will read parts of it just with us. Just to read a couple of lines personally is already a great experience, because that is the material that we work with. It is working directly in us. You read it and it actually immediately works in you. It does something with you. And you will discover that. You don't have to believe in what I'm saying. You will have your own experience with it. So that is so cool and so beautiful. And that's why I love to extend this to whoever wants to participate and be active and activated by this. So yeah, I see this for myself as a completely new start, and it has started. It is not that it has to, yeah, it has started. It came to me again, and it comes to me alive in me by applying it, by using it, by seeing, oh my God, it's so available. Suddenly, woof, there it is. I can't believe it, how fresh this is and how useful it is in exactly the situations where I find myself during the day. I can immediately apply it to get out of the say the concern, to get out of the being occupied with something, to get out of my fear thoughts, or my not being able to come to my peace, or whatever happens in your life at this time. So it's a great way to have a serious reality check, so to speak. Like, it's adjusting and tweaking and twisting you in the right position to come into an alignment with the will of God, and to become an extension of that instead of an opposing will that seems to have ideas with me that I'm not sure if that's going to work for me, because I have a will of my own too. That is, this book really helps to see that this alignment is not something that where there's something going to be taken away from you, but actually a beautiful opportunity to align with this will of God, extending it through me to whoever I meet, and seeing how well that works. That my thoughts about the situations and the way I thought I had to deal with them were just a disturbance of that beautiful signal that I receive anyway. So that's beautiful. I love that. So yeah, in this first say introduction to miracles, which is the first chapter, um, we only use the first chapter. So we're not going to go through the whole book or having chapters one after the other. No. So we're going into depth into this chapter during 8 of our sessions, I think. And that makes it an unbelievable experience too, because you have time to work with this, to read this when you're not in class, to read this for yourself, to discover what it actually does with you, to to see how the miracle principles are working, what actually is a miracle, you know. So coming into the practicality of this also then is to, yes, this is an opportunity to start giving miracles, to actually come into the active extension of the miracle, and in your own personal way, but not under your conscious control. So that is, you have to find out what it means to be guided in doing this, and learning to follow that subtle instruction of, yeah, this, yes, go right ahead, or it's not going to happen, and either way is of course fine. So this is something that you can see in your daily life, and you can experiment with it under guidance, so that it can't go wrong in that sense. So I really love that too. So these are just a couple of things that are happening in this class. It will be practical.